Hi everybody, Teacher Zdenek here. Welcome to another Learn English with Football show. Today I'm using my mobile phone because I'm not at home. I'm currently in Italy. Actually, it's very nice here. It's a lovely place. And I thought that I would do Learn English with Football, but it might be a bit difficult today. It might be a bit tricky. And the reason is because I think I didn't invite any guests in time. So basically, what happened was that I ended up being just by myself, and I haven't even watched any matches, to be honest. I have seen a few highlights, so I can just quickly go through that. And yeah, if you guys are watching this live, then feel free to ask questions. I may be able to respond to that. Yeah, just to repeat to you, you can also follow me on Instagram as Teacher Zdenek, and on my LinkedIn profile, I believe Zdenek Lucas is my name. So yeah, normally on this show we sort of review the game week, and as you know, game week 7 was cancelled because of the death of the Queen. So this we had game week 8 this weekend, but as I was traveling to Italy, I wasn't really able to see any matches. Except I think I saw a match on Friday. I think I managed to see one match on Friday. I just can't remember what it was. You give me a second. Yes, it was the Nottingham Forest Fulham match, right? Nottingham Forest, I think they were 1-0 up, and then Fulham managed to score 3 goals, and then in the end, uh, Fulham, no, sorry, Nottingham Forest scored a consolation goal, but 3 points for Fulham. I kind of expected that, to be honest with you. I think Fulham are on fire, and it wasn't even Dimitrovic who scored their goals. I think they're playing really well. So it was a game of two newly promoted sides, and yeah, I thought that 5 goals. What more can you wish for, really? So yeah, I guess you can wish for Mitrovic scoring or making an assist at least, especially if you decide to captain Mitrovic for your fantasy team, which is exactly what I did. But unfortunately, I made a mistake. I should have captained Haaland like everyone else did. Yeah, that's just a little side note to fantasy football. Those of you who watch fantasy football or who play fantasy football, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that was probably the only match this game week I managed to see, and I didn't even see it all. I think I saw the first half and then possibly the last goal, but that's about that. And some teams didn't even play. I believe Liverpool didn't play, United didn't play. Okay, Manchester City won. Can't remember the result. I know Haaland scored 1 goal, and I think they won 3-0. I think they got a clean sheet. They definitely did. Ederson got a clean sheet, and then I think was it Phil Foden who scored? Phil Foden, Haaland definitely scored 1 goal, and then Haaland scored actually a quite nice goal. It was a bit of dribble, and then it was kind of on the edge of the. He was on the edge of the box, or was he outside the box? I can't remember, but it was like it was not a close range goal, which is something he normally scores. He normally scores tap-ins, right? But it was not one of those. It was well worked goal actually. Credit to Haaland for you know making that happen. Haaland has got his 11th goal. He's just he's just a beast, isn't he? He's on another level. Incredible. 11 goals in, is it 7? Technically, this is game week 8, but it was in 7 matches he has 11 goals. I think it must be a new record. If not a new record, it's close to it. He is on fire, Haaland. No one can stop him. And I think he was the missing piece of the jigsaw in the Manchester City team. It's just incredible how well he managed to slot in. Like Manchester City, namely Pep Guardiola, bedded him in really well. And if there were any doubts about Haaland not making it in the Premier League, because you know how everybody says, "Oh, it's Bundesliga, anyone could score. Any Dick, Tom, and Harry could score in Bundesliga or could get so many goals." But show us in the Premier League. Well, it didn't take him very long. He's got 2 hat tricks already, and the player in the second place, so the who has got who is in the second place for goals? It's either Harry Kane. It's gonna be Harry Kane, I'm sure. Possibly Mitrovic, but most likely Harry Kane. So Manchester City got to the first place, right? That was an early Saturday match. So that was obviously nothing to be surprised about. Yeah, they are Manchester City. And then I can comment on 2 more games, but that's about it. I can also comment on the Arsenal game against. Now I'm trying to remember who they played because I don't actually remember it. I know my friend Nrup has been messaging me about it. Who did Arsenal beat? I know it was they won away from home, and it was 3-0. They got a clean sheet. I know Saliba scored a nice goal. Gabriel Jesus scored a goal, and the last one scored the last goal. Who scored the last goal? I can't remember, guys. I'm sorry. But 3-0, fantastic result for Arsenal. I think they were dominating in the match. Another 3 points. And first place as well. Yeah, they got in front of Manchester City. So what else? What more can you wish for if you are an Arsenal fan? If you are a Gooner? I am a Gooner, but as you well know, I also support West Ham United. Hi, Max. If you are watching this, I find it quite difficult to because I'm only using my phone right now, so I can't just easily look for the results and check the results. So if you're watching this live, could you please tell me who Arsenal played this weekend? Because I kind of forgot. I know, who was it? Who did Arsenal play this weekend, guys? Let me know, at least one of you, please. Please, please, please. And then I watched the highlights of the West Ham game. That was an absolute disaster. And from what I heard, a very, very bad performance from West Ham. As you know, West Ham is one of the teams I like, but this season they have been atrocious. They have been shambolic. They only have 4 points so far, and I think they're in the relegation zone now, or near the relegation zone, if not in the relegation zone. I mean, oh, I've just remembered that there's one more game I can talk about, and that's Tottenham Hotspur and Leicester, because that was 6-2. I also saw the highlights from that. But I'm talking about West Ham now. So West Ham 1-0. They lost 1-0 to Everton. Everton away, right? So apparently both teams were rubbish, but Everton managed to score 1 goal. It's really beyond me because they are one of the highest spenders this season, right? West Ham. They bought so many good players, but it just doesn't work. Something isn't right in the team. And even the players that used to be good, and that includes my countryman Thomas Soucek, unfortunately, they are not doing it this season. Yeah, and even players that were amazing last season, like Declan Rice and Jared Bowen, it's not the same. Especially Jared Bowen. I think Declan Rice is all right, but he is the captain. He should. He's a young captain, but I think I think it's down to him, right? Sometimes as well to do something about this, to convince his teammates that they should try harder or fight for the result. I don't know. Something isn't right. Jareth Bowen completely out of form. Tomáš Souček, I think he has problems passing the ball. I think whenever I watch some uh, YouTube channels dedicated to West Ham fans, they always talk about the inability to pass the ball, and it's true because I've seen a few West Ham matches this season, and you know what? I've realized that Tomáš Souček just has to keep it simple. If he keeps it simple and just does the stuff he's good at, I think he's an amazing player. And in my opinion, I know West Ham fans are going to disagree with me, but I think if Tomáš Souček keeps it simple and he focuses on what he knows how to do best, in my opinion, he's irreplaceable. I know it's controversial, but it's because he's big, physical, he runs a lot, he's a threat in the box, and he is good at defense. And as you know, David Moyes, he sort of favors this system. I think he's very kind of defensive minded, isn't he? Like he likes to play on counter attacks. So, in my opinion, the reason David Moyes plays Tomáš Souček is because he's just the kind of player he likes. Yeah? He probably doesn't complain much because he has a good character, Tomáš Souček. I know him like from the Czech league, and he's always a positive. He always brings positive vibes. So probably part of the reason is that. But then West Ham fans are saying that if you don't consistently produce the performances of the level you should produce, then shouldn't be played, right? There should be no favoritism like in the West Ham team. Like David Moyes should just find someone else, replace Souček with someone else. I think he's justified in picking Souček, but I also understand why West Ham fans don't think so, because there are some issues. There are some weaknesses to his game. Right. So that's West Ham. Now Tottenham beat Leicester 6-2, right? 6-2. That's an incredible game. Like 8 goals scored in one game. And Son was a substitute. He was a super sub because I think he scored his hat trick in like 13 minutes. Was it 13 or 17? Anyway, didn't need much time to score his hat trick. And the goals were world class finishes as well. So I have to say, Tottenham. And in my opinion, the main reason they are so good is Antonio Conte. Tottenham with Antonio Conte in charge. And I'm not saying that only because I'm currently in Italy. And Antonio Conte, as we know, is Italian. But I have to say, he is a brilliant manager and he's a born winner and he has that mentality, that winning mentality. And he probably is just able to just get the best out of his players, get a tune out of them, as we say. So what can I say? Yeah, Max is reminding me that Arsenal played against Brentford. Thanks for that, Max. Yeah, so that was Brentford away. So a nice revenge for last season's disappointing result. It was the first match of the previous season. Those of you who have seen what was the name of the TV show All or Nothing on Amazon. Those of you who have seen it, you may remember that's how the TV series started, right? With a defeat at the Brentford ground. But this season we managed to win away from home 3-0, a comfortable result, comfortable performance. Yeah, so I think Tottenham are also like right behind us. They must be like 2 points behind Arsenal. Like I think they are on the same score on the same number of points as City, I think, or something like that. Or just maybe they lost one game already. Tottenham are definitely doing great this season. So yeah. Son was good, as Max says. Thank you for all these comments, Max. By the way, I always appreciate it if people get involved. Any of you guys watching, I know there are people watching this. Maybe you are not interested in football and you're still watching. That's fine. That's fine. If you don't know what to say, that's okay. But comments are brilliant because they help me, especially if I'm by myself like this. No guests today because I left it to the last moment, and I was also teaching a few lessons, and I'm also kind of on holiday now. So yeah, it took me 27 years to come back to a real beach. 27 years, guys. Can you believe it? Today when I went into the sea, I was like Alice in Wonderland. I was like, it was incredible. Yeah, the sun was shining, water was warm, the waves, water so just crystal clear, and not many people there as well because it's the end of the season. Really beautiful here, I have to say. I have to say, a really nice place in the north of Italy. Also, the people talk to me a lot here. They seem very talkative and genuinely interested in speaking English to me. I have given out a lot of business cards. Yeah, so I may have a few more followers or possibly even students if I like keep giving the business cards out. You never know, right? I'm hoping that Italy is a place where you would find a lot of people interested in football, yeah, because it is one of those places where people love football. They absolutely adore it. They won the Euros, right, last year, so why wouldn't you be like? It's Italy is one of the football countries in the world, in the whole world, right? Brazil, Italy, Spain, Portugal, England, all these countries, like they have football as number one sport, right? Without a shadow of the doubt. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Son had his mojo working again. Yeah, I saw that, especially after scoring that brilliant first goal. You could see that his confidence levels, his mojo, as you were saying, was sky high. And sometimes when you're just in your element, yeah, you're in the zone, as we say, you're in the zone. Things just happen easily, without you having to make much effort. You just have all that confidence. Like, I remember that because I also used to play football, right? And if one thing works out for you in that match, if you do something amazing in the match, often what happens is that more magic follows because you just get that boost, the boost of adrenaline or boost of confidence or something. So I think that's exactly what happened to Son, especially in contrast with how he started the season. He was on the bench. That's something unimaginable in last season. So yeah, I think Antonio Conte was glad for Son. He mentioned it. He was happy. But he also made a joke that maybe next match they should try the same experiment with Son. And what he was alluding to was that maybe he should put Son on the bench again. And he called it an experiment. So I didn't know that Antonio Conte experiments with Son. I wonder if Son's family know. Anyway, there's one more thing I need to mention, and that's David Moyes in the press conference. So something funny happened there, and you can find it on social media. I have posted a remix of a reel, um, and it was a reaction to that moment when one of the journalists told Moisey. The journalist asked David Moyes a question, and he started the question off by addressing him as Moisey. So it's like a nickname. It's like David Moyes' nickname, and he says Moisey, and then ask him the question, and then David Moyes was like, "Fucking hell, fucking hell! I didn't know we were that close." That was so funny. The reaction, David Moyes' reaction to that is priceless. You guys have to watch it. If you haven't seen it, just find it online. David Moyes, Moisey, or I didn't know we were that close. If you put this in as keywords in the search bar, you will find the video. It's very short as well. Yeah, that was my favorite moment of the whole. That was my favorite moment of the whole game week. I'm afraid, because I didn't really see the matches, only the highlights. So yeah. Yeah, I forgot to play this. So better late than never. And then, so I've already said that the only game I really watched was that Nottingham Forest Fulham game. And then I saw a few highlights. Which I have already talked about. Ironically, I'm gonna give it to David Moyes for making me laugh. I know it shouldn't be him, but he really made me laugh. He really made me laugh with that reaction. And the villain, the villain has to be that guy, that's exactly the same guy, David Moyes. It has to be exactly the same guy for just not being able to get any result at Goodison Park against Everton, especially because it's the international break now. Yeah, and you never want to go into the international break on a heavy defeat like that, right? So 4 points, it's just not good enough. Oh, by the way, guys, maybe we should give it to Brendan Rodgers as well. 6-2 against Spurs. Come on, Brendan, you can do better than that. Can you, though? Can you do better than that? 1 point in 7 matches. How is he not out of the club yet? So this is a team. This is a team, Leicester City, yeah, that fired Claudio Ranieri 6 months after he won the Premier League with them. Was it in 2015 or something? And then he was fired. So as you can see, the board are not afraid to make tough decisions like that. But how is Brendan Rodgers still in his job? How many chances is he gonna get? I'm so surprised. Like 1 point, bottom of the league, Leicester. No way, no way. He has to go, right? If I'm a Leicester fan, I'm like Brendan Rodgers out. Rodgers out. Like I understand, like he has done really well with the club, but you just need to freshen it up. Like every time I hear Brendan Rodgers talk, like it's all just excuses. Sometimes you just need that new impulse, A new clean, a new broom sweeps clean is the expression, right? Especially considering that we have had some really surprising managerial changes already. I can't remember his name, but the Bournemouth's manager was fired, and despite the fact that he did all right, and he was the guy who took Bournemouth all the way to the Premier League, right? So like, I don't know why he was given such small amount of time. And then, of course, the sacking of Thomas Tuchel. Like, don't get me started on that. I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I sympathize with Thomas Tuchel at this point because it just didn't seem right to fire him. It seemed like a crazy decision to me. He's the one who won the Champions League for them, and they have had tough times at Chelsea, right? With when the war started, what happened to Roman Abramovich? His position was obviously very bad, and his assets were frozen, and then eventually he decided to leave the club. Then they got a new owner, an American owner. Can't remember his name. Something starting from B. But this person is like a crazy guy. He doesn't understand football. So he wanted to get Ronaldo to Chelsea, and Thomas Tuchel, apparently, these are rumors, but I think it's becoming common knowledge that Thomas Tuchel said no to Ronaldo because he thought Ronaldo would be toxic in the dressing room, which is absolutely fair point in my opinion, because you don't have to go very far to see what has been happening at Manchester United, right? So that's one problem. And then I think didn't Thomas Tuchel say something along the lines of didn't he talk back to the owner? I think there's a possibility that like Thomas Tuchel was sort of talking down to the owner. It sounds weird, I know, because he's his boss. I have a feeling that something like that happened. And there was definitely no love lost between them. The relationship wasn't very healthy, was it? And it all escalated with the owner sacking Thomas Tuchel after a defeat in the Champions League. But still, like I don't understand. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. But I don't understand like why he was fired. Don't get it. And now the same guy that sacked Thomas Tuchel, was it a few days ago that he released a statement into the press saying that he doesn't understand why the Premier League does not have an all-star game. See, in America, they have this all-star game, like in NHL, NBA, and what's the other one? MFL, all that. They always have an all-star game. And it's like a game. It's like it happens once every year, and what happens is that you've got the players playing for the teams in the north against the players playing in the south of the country. So you have got players of different teams playing for the same team just to sort of entertain the fans. It's not taken very seriously. A lot of goals are scored, a lot of points are scored, whatever sport you are doing. And then you also have like these disciplines, like who is gonna shoot the fastest or who is gonna be the most accurate shooter and stuff like that, right? And he said that why is this not in here? He doesn't get it. Well, maybe it comes down to the tradition. Like it sounds so ridiculous for him to even suggest it. Why is he like so out of touch? Like if I were a Chelsea fan right now, I would be really worried about my club. I would be really worried because it seems to me like this new owner has no idea what football is. Does he even know that they are playing like they are not playing the American football? Because in America they call it soccer, right? You know what I mean? Like, and if you don't understand the sport, like, please just keep a low profile or let other people speak for you. Hire spokespeople. Like this is the worst when you have like incompetent people trying to do something they don't understand. I can't stand that when that happens. Like I think there is a certain level of arrogance when people do that. Yeah, they just think they are so good or they just untouchable or something. But one thing is that they are ridiculous. Well, usually they don't care about it. That they are ridiculous and that people are going to mock them and make fun of them. They don't care about it because they have enough money to buy several clubs, you know. But the problem is that they are really damaging the club. That's the real issue here. Who cares about their reputation, right? But they're damaging the club. How are the fans going to feel? It's a bad owner, in my opinion. He might learn. Who knows? They got Graham Potter from Brighton. So an absolute heartbreak for Brighton fans because Graham Potter has been phenomenal at Brighton, right? Breaking a record every single season. I think currently they were like before this game week, they were in the 4th place. So now I think they didn't play, right? So honestly, like what's gonna happen to Brighton after Graham Potter went to Chelsea? Who knows? But for some time, I think it's gonna work because it's still the same team. I don't even know who replaced Graham Potter, to be honest with you. Kind of didn't catch that. I'm sure they have someone new already. How is Graham Potter gonna do at Chelsea? That's another question. Honestly, it's hard to say because he's a great manager. Yeah? Everywhere he went, he was a success story. But this is Chelsea we are talking about under this crazy owner as well. So it's not the same. Like you have to work with a lot of stars. It's not the same kind of job. You have to be more of like a man manager as well, and you have to know how to deal with these players and how to manage their egos, right? You have to control their egos because everyone wants to play. Now, how is Aubameyang going to feel? The ex-Arsenal player who was kicked by Arteta from the team after breaching a disciplinary code several times repeatedly. Then he played in Barcelona, scored a few goals, but then Thomas Tuchel decided to get him to Chelsea because they have got history. He was managing him at was it Borussia Dortmund? I think so, right? Was he at Borussia Dortmund? I think so. So he asked for Aubameyang to buy him, right? He wasn't cheap. And then all that happened was that Aubameyang played one match for him. It was like 1.5 days or something, and then he was fired. So I think there was one interview with Aubameyang. They were asking about this, and he seemed really, really gutted about it because he was obviously part of the reason he went to Chelsea was because of Tuchel, because he wanted to reunite with him, right? I don't know what's going to happen, but Premier League is exciting as ever. If you guys have any comments, anything I haven't covered, as you can see, like I have been sort of trying to keep myself in the loop, keep myself up to speed with the results at least. And I know a few stories here and there, but normally I would have watched at least a few matches. So this week it's a bit different. Also, I'm using my mobile phone and I'm not even sure you can hear me well. I hope so. I hope you can hear me well. You would have said something by now, wouldn't you? I hope so. I hope so, guys. Yeah, so I guess I should now say something about the fantasy football, right? That's what I normally do. Where is it? Here. Okay, I'm not gonna share my screen because it would be too complicated. But instead, I'm just gonna tell you that I got 60 points, which is above average, so I'm happy. I'm okay with my performance. Obviously, shouldn't have captained Mitrovic, but even with Fulham scoring 3 goals, who could have possibly known that Mitrovic wouldn't have been involved in any of them? So I think that's okay. I'm okay with that, especially since Haaland only scored 1 goal this time. If he had scored like another hat trick, I would have. What's the expression? I would have torn my hair out, something like that, right? To tear your hair out, tear off your hair, something like that. Guys, can someone check the expression for me? Tear your hair out, I think. You know what? I'm gonna have a look. I want to know. Tear your hair out. I think it's to tear your hair out. Yeah, to feel extreme desperation. Yeah, that's exactly it. Right. Now where am I? Am I still here? I might have to go back. Sorry, guys. Okay, sorry guys, I'm back. I might be here twice though. Oh no, what a disaster. Okay, hang on. Let me remove myself from the stream. Okay, I'm here, but I can hear myself twice. There's an echo. So that's extremely annoying. That's extremely annoying. Okay, how about now? No? Still can hear myself twice. Hmm. Mute. Right. I think I'm here now. Guys, I can hear myself. I need to end this one. So thank you very much for watching. If you can hear an echo, I really apologize for that. I can't record like this. So I got 60 points in my fantasy football, and it was a good performance, let's say. Saliba got me 15 points. Yeah, and that's how we wrap it up, guys. If you enjoyed this show, despite the circumstances and the way I had to record this, if you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, give us a like, and share and subscribe, and all those things. And enjoy your your week, I guess. And I guess there's gonna be another break possibly next week because of the international break. And yeah, I'll see you after that. So take care, guys, and bye.